Here we are, folks, back in the chair. Greetings, loved ones, and welcome back to my channel, and welcome back to another renovation vlog. This is debatably one of the most exciting renovation vlogs that I have to share with you since we moved into this house the summer of 2023, because this is the most, like, I don't know, tangible changes that we're able to see now that we finally have the wing painted. So we hired a painter who came and painted like 4 rooms basically, but it's kind of more like 2 large hallways and then 2 rooms. I will overlay what it looks like for you guys. We painted the hallways this lovely sage green color, and we are just obsessed with it. I really wanted sage green to be somewhere in this house, and I feel like this is just such a great room for it. It gets a lot of sun. I'm excited to put a lot of houseplants in this area, and then that green color kind of extends into where is going to be like a walk-through hallway to the upstairs, but also at the same time it's going to be a sort of a study situation or like an office, I don't know. And then in the kids room we did a very pale yellow color. It's not like butter yellow, it's more like a light cream moment. I don't know, but I'm obsessed with it. I think it looks so great, and compared to what was in there before, which was this very sort of dark aqua blue, it looks so much lighter and brighter in there and very cheerful, and we're just in love with it. And then for our living room we chose pumpkin cream from Bear. I'll put the names and the brands of the colors that we chose on the screen in case you're in the market for paint colors right now. But we had this guy come and do everything within, he quoted us for 2 weeks and then it finished up much faster than that. He had 2 other people working with him some of the days, so they just got the job done super fast and it was awesome. So that's just so great now that that's done. And now we have moved on to the floors, which is going to be more of like the renovation footage in this video. Finally ripping up our old ugly blue carpet. Oh my god, I just can't believe that this finally happened. And of course now it just is exposed subfloor, which is also ugly, but it is way better than the blue carpet that was there before. I don't know why the previous owner chose to put that carpet down, and when we started renovating the wing it just got covered in drywall and paint and all these things, because we were just like, you don't even need to drop cloth here, you can get paint wherever, to the people that we hired, you know.
C'est la vie. Le carpet est ugly.
And now he has started working very hard on just getting all the floors prepped for hardwoods, because we're going to also rip up the carpet that's in the living room, which is just like a tan carpet that the previous owner had put in as well. And I think we're just gonna do some rugs in there or something like that. We were kind of going back and forth on like, oh, well, do we want carpet in the living room? I at least am in the camp of like, let's just hardwood floor everything and then we can get some cozy rugs, because I'm just not really a carpet girl. But honestly, comment down below if you are, because some people are very much so like, carpet is the best, it makes a room so much cozier, you need to have it in at least one space of the house. I don't know. Finley's kind of in that camp, but I think he'll side with me on this one because he's a big happy wife, happy life kind of a guy, and I like making decisions like that.
So I'm just undoing all these little plugs in here, unscrewing them so I can take these boards off. It's a pain in the ass, but taking them off without unscrewing them is also a huge pain in the ass, and this way I should be able to reuse them for something. You know, just to show you what that's looking like. I'm not using one of my nice chisels for this. I'm just taking a little flathead, breaking these up a little bit once I get them exposed. So I just got to do that for the rest of this floor. There's a lot of them, but it's all right. I'm excited to be able to reuse these because I'm just about out of all the wood that I've stripped from other places, and I love using the wood for different parts of this house when I rip it up from somewhere else. So I'll be glad to have a fresh batch, and then I'll kind of later go over my new plans for the floor.
They're calling this Dow City. Oh, Dow City, bam a lamb. Even though these aren't really dowels. Are they dowels?
No, they're probably called plugs, I would say.
Oh, Plug City, bam a lamb. I'm trying to go there. Insane.
Alright, so as you can see, there's about 10,000 plugs around here. These should all come up pretty easy. There was some screws I couldn't get out. I'm trying to be able to reuse these beautiful boards for something else. I don't know what yet, but we'll see. They're all 10 foot, 6 foot length, so that's pretty solid.
It's a pretty good wide shot.
That I got?
Yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah. Your boy knows how to use a camera.
Some people have said otherwise.
What do you mean?
I don't know.
Good. Needs a little bit of a vacuum.
The dogs are having so much fun right now, just like running around in the leaves. If you can hear anything in the background, it is full on fall here today. It is like almost in the low 50s right now, hence why I'm wearing my jacket. I have a sweater on underneath this and my overalls and socks. I've been in a socks and sandals mood recently, but I think I might need to switch out to socks and boots because that is how cold it's getting. But we did finally get some rain yesterday, which is so great, and that actually segues me into the next thing that I wanted to talk about, which is the severe drought that we're in here in southern Vermont, as well as a lot of Vermont, and the state of our well and where I'm at right now with everything. So we haven't been running out of well water as much as we were, you know, in my last vlog when I was talking about this. But I had some comments on that last video being like, hey Meg, don't wait on having a well company come out to your property and just like see what the problem is, because also with well issues and like running out of water, sometimes it can be a lot of things, you know, like what if it was a pump issue and we had to fix the water pump instead, then we would want to know that, right? So I researched a bunch of companies after uploading the last video, and then I called somewhere, and he's local to me, and he was like, oh, I know the guy that used to live there. And I was like, oh my God, you do? And then we sort of talked about that, and he goes, yeah, I actually came out one time to look at the well because he was having problems with it. And I was like, well, that's kind of a bummer to hear, sir, because that means that he lied in the showing packet, you know, like all of the information that you get about a house when you tour it. It will say the year that the well was put in, who did it. So like I had all of that information, and I know that the well was from the 80s, and the man who put it in, I said in the last video, passed away. So I was like, this is the man who did it. Did you know him? And he goes, if you had a well put in the 80s from that guy, I can tell you guaranteed it is not a drilled well. It is what we used to call a pounded well, where they would get this big like steel plate and they would just like ram it into the ground to dig a hole. And our well, I thought for some reason, and I feel like I might have mentioned this in the vlogs, but I thought that it was 300 feet. It is not. It is 150 feet, which is an incredibly shallow well, especially for being in a more mountainous area with a ton of rock. Like apparently all of the wells that are around my property that this company that I was speaking to on the phone has drilled for people, he was like, oh yeah, all the places around you, their wells are like 600 to 800 feet deep. And I was like, Okay, so 150 is like nothing. And last fall in like November, I talked about the well problems in our well running dry in a different vlog. And in that video, I was talking about how it was around the same time that we bought our tractor, and we bought it from a neighbor who knew the guy who used to live here. And he was like, oh, have you guys ran out of water yet, by the way? Because, you know, he used to pipe up water in like little black tubes from the pond. And we were like, oh my God, that's what those tubes are for? Because we found them like running through the woods and we were like, what the heck, where did this come from? Anyway, all of this I've already told you, but I'm just bringing it back up to say that, you know, when you sell a house, you don't really always want to tell somebody that they're going to have issues with X, Y, and Z, even though that is the law to tell them. Like, we know that he lied, obviously, about the well. We know he lied about the state of the roof and how quickly we needed to replace it when we moved in. In the video, when we had the giant roof leak that was like the worst day in this house ever, I said that in our showing packet, he had said that the roof hadn't leaked since Hurricane Irene, which was in like, what, 2012? And we just know that that was obviously bullshit because there was like water spots in that area that just got worse when it started leaking again. So he's a liar. We know this. I'm not planning to take him to court. And honestly, I don't even really want to like talk about it for that much longer because it's just like, okay, how do we remedy this and make this property better than how we bought it, right? Fixer-upper life. We move on. So when I talked to the guy on the phone, he was like, yeah, I don't deal with pounded wells. And I said, well, in the showing packet, it said that the well was 150 feet drilled well. And he goes, no, that's just wrong. So anyway, let me just talk about the remedy for this problem that we know that we will eventually have to do here, because it just seems like really the only solution other than putting like a cistern tank possibly somewhere in the basement temporarily. At least we're not like currently running out of water still, but once we have, like, just thinking about the future water needs, like we don't have a vegetable garden that we're trying to maintain right now. We have a very sort of non-committal herb garden that we watered on occasion this summer when it wasn't raining enough. But if I were to do like a full garden and orchard and everything that I want to do on this property, that is a huge water need. And then if we have more children, there will just be like more flushing of toilets and running of sinks and showers and all of the things. And if we're already running out of water often as a household of 3, we just know we need to do this. Anyway, the man on the phone basically was like, I don't deal with pounded wells. I can tell you that most people don't and won't do that for you because it's an outdated method. And this isn't to say that you won't find like somebody somewhere who could do this niche thing for you, but around here it is going to be hard to find somebody to do that because of how much slate rock is like in the soil. So drilling is just faster and gets the job done, you know? So he said he talked to the previous owner years ago, you know, before he sold us this property, about possibly resetting over the current well. So basically just like covering it all up and then digging a new well in whatever eligible area there is for a deep well, and they would like assess that and see how deep they would need to go, but probably it would be like 600 feet. So we got a quote for that, and normally I talk about money things on my Patreon when it comes to like what we pay for certain projects and certain room renovations and like how much our roof costs to replace and all these things. But I'm just gonna tell you right now, honey, because I was fucking shocked that a new well would be about almost $20,000. It would be like 19K. So needless to say, we are not budgeting for that this year. I don't know when we will have the money to spend in that arena, you know, but we know that the need for water is so high that we will probably have to shift some things around to put the money there instead. And I don't know if we'll do that like next summer or when, but honey, it was horrible news. So I wanted to tell you the good news at the beginning of this video, just about, you know, the painted walls and working on the new floors, and then also unfortunately break you the bad news that I had to break to myself. I just know that we will need to do this at some point, but is 2025 the year? Probably not. And we're just gonna try to maybe do a cistern tank if the drought continues and have that in the basement to tap into in the meantime, because putting gutters on this property is not realistic in the snowy climate that we live in. Gutters aren't recommended for like the type of roof that we got, and just blah bitty blue blah. We move on. Just wanted to provide you a little update there. Okay, we're going to make some beet, banana, and date bread from the Let Them Eat Dirt cookbook together. Do you want to help me with the whisk? She's very helpful with the whisk, whisking in all of the dry ingredients together, okay? She is also... Oh no, things are really going wrong with this recipe. Thank you, Bibi. Better than me, because I was making a lot of mistakes. At least she can't even reach the bowl, you know, to make mistakes. I was adding in like 3 bananas. I started mashing them. I know I'm not really like actually telling you how to do this recipe, but it was a messy one and there was a lot of steps. You can try it, but you'll get purple fingers. This is a half a cup, probably. Still have to do another half. It's Halloween. You're gonna have stained fingers too. Folding in the beets. I was just mixing it all together, put it in my loaf pan, and then I popped that bad boy in the oven at 350 for like an hour. Now I am buttering my pan for another recipe, a frittata. Whoa, my bell pepper was growing a bell pepper. That's cool, baby. Definitely eat that. This frittata had so many vegetables, it was insane. I put in like a sliced onion, a red onion to be exact, 3 bell peppers, so 1, 2, 3. Also, oh, my beet banana date bread came out. This was incredible. Highly recommend making it, okay? Even though I didn't really tell you how to make it. Oh, you can just get the cookbook. It's awesome. But after my pepper and onions went into the pan, I also added in a half cup of corn. Do you want to crack an egg? Do you want me to show you first? Cracking it. You try. Good job. And 8 eggs went in there with a little bit of salt. And then I just, instead of whisking them, did, you know, my immersion hand blender like I like to do with my frittatas, added in half of the cooked down peppers and onions and everything in the corn into the egg mixture, mixed it all up, poured it into the dish, then added all of the vegetables on top with a 1/4 cup of ricotta cheese and put it in the oven to bake for like a half hour at 350. And also I wanted to say that in regards to the floors that we're doing in here, the hardwood floors, we just got a quote from Vermont Plank Flooring, which is a local mill, is selling some discounted white oak to us. I think there was like a surplus of it or something like that. I don't know. But we got like 1,100 square feet, which is what's needed for the wing, and then some, because you're supposed to get like 10% extra in case you mess up on a cut or something like that. So we decided to go with a local wood supplier instead of getting our lumber from like Home Depot or another, you know, big box hardware store. And it is going to be more expensive to go the local way, as things generally are that are like the better, more sustainable option. It's always more expensive. Shakes fists at wind. But also we had a hard conversation about that too, being like, is this something that we want to pay more for? Yes, because the pine floors that are like the original hardwood floors in this house, in our kitchen and in our bedroom, are so soft. Like if you drop a water bottle on the floor or something like that, they scrape and they have a giant dent in them as a result. It's like it shows every little imperfection. And sure, like with an older house, sometimes it is nice to have just like little imperfections here and there. But honestly, I feel like I prefer having more polished looking hard floors, like a hardwood like oak, you know, or hickory or something like that, that has more like imperfections in the way of like little knots in the wood that you can accentuate with the stain that you have and stuff. So that's our recent choice that we just made like today. So we got the quote for that, and then we let the guy know that we did want to go ahead with that option. So very exciting, and fingers crossed that it looks good. We're still deciding on what exact stain we want to do, because we could go like dark walnut, like some of the beams in the wing, or we could do sort of like the pine lighter color that is, you know, like most of the sort of honeyed floors in different parts of our house. But those are my big house updates that I wanted to share with you. And now I want to share with you just how I've been feeling in life currently. I am like struck by the moment. The sun is like peeking through the trees beautifully over here. So many of the leaves have fallen now. It's crazy. Like when I was driving around town today, I realized how many trees are already bare because we had such an early fall due to the drought and just trees dying quicker. And so I feel kind of as if I'm like catching up to fall in a way where I haven't in previous years felt like this. It's almost as if I hadn't realized that fall was really here or let it sink in until it was kind of a little bit too late. But it's not too late. It's early October when I'm filming this, and I'm just trying to remind myself that I have time to do all of my fun fall things. And I really just need to learn in this season, especially after the summer that we had, just to slow the freak down. I think I need to take my camera off the tripod and go for a walk, honestly, and just embrace this pre-twilight moment in the woods with you. I really want this video to serve as a sort of collective deep breath as we welcome fall together. I don't know about y'all, but the summer season can stress me out occasionally. I was talking about this to a friend recently, but I think because we have such long winters here in the Northeast, part of me feels guilty not making the most out of every summer day and jam-packing my schedule as much as possible with trips and activities during the nice weather. We traveled every single month this summer, and I'm just feeling called to significantly slow down during autumn with a return to meditation, yoga, and a bit more sanity. When I feel like there's simply just too much work to catch up on in my life or the house, I've been taking foliage walks to offset the overwhelm, and I can't recommend it enough. Also, if I need some extra support during those times, I take Terry Naturally's Anxiocalm tablets, so shout out to them for sponsoring this video. It's designed to relieve occasional anxiety, stress, and nervous tension without the drowsiness or mental fog. The tablet is super small, easy to take, and is fast acting, which I love. Sometimes if my thoughts are spiraling before bed, I'll take Anxiocalm to promote restful sleep as well, which has been so great for my mental health. Sleep is everything, y'all. But so is taking time for yourself on the day-to-day with whatever self-care habits you have or have been trying to form. For me, exercise used to be a big one that has slipped away since becoming a mom, so I'm slowly trying to incorporate more of that back into my life. Comment below something that you're trying to bring back into your life too. And if you're in need of something to help with your own mental health and emotional well-being, I highly suggest checking out Anxiocalm or any of Terry Naturally's supplements at the link below. You can use code Meghan10 for 10% off. I've really just been trying to focus myself on tangible things I can do with my hands this season so that I know that I'm slowing down, I know that I'm scrolling less, and I know that I'm just like adding something back into my life that feels very innate in a way, to be like having a return to the use of my brain and skills for just that, like actual skill building. So I wanted to sort of use that as a segue to talk about a neighborhood campout that we just went to. I might have already shared this with you, but I'm going to refresh your memory because it does aid in my story, okay? So my neighbors hold these like bi-weekly craft slash skill building gatherings, and we basically will do everything from like mending clothes to learning how to use natural plant dyes to making knives and many other things. So that's already been like integrated into our lives a little bit in our community, but for the first time they were holding a full weekend of that same stuff, but at a campout at their house, and they invited us to go, and we went, and it was a totally freaking wicked time. I did so many fun things. I taught a Zumbini class for mostly like older kids, which was a huge switch up for me because normally I teach Zumbini, which is like Zumba with babies, to ages 0 through 4. But this past summer when I taught, I had some older siblings take my class, like 2 7-year-olds, and they both were debatably like more obsessed with it than, you know, the babies. They can only show so much attention and tell you how much they're loving something, but a 7-year-old can be like, I loved this class, I'm gonna tell my friends about this class, you know? So teaching 6 to 12-year-olds was iconic, and I just had such a great time. They were way more active of students as well, so I got to do a lot of things that babies just don't have the capacity to do right now because they're babies. So it was a hoot and holler in time. And I now think that for my next session of Zoom beading classes, I might just make it all ages, because I feel like the older kids honestly like got a lot out of it, and I feel like other kids would get a lot out of it. So that was a nice little takeaway for me from the weekend, apart from just like enjoying community and my neighbors and meeting new friends and hanging with old friends. But two other things that I learned how to do this weekend that I'm so excited to tell you about was felting. So I got to do like a felted soap project, where basically I had like a wooden skewer and a little needle, and I would just tear off pieces of like colored felt that actually was turned into roving from my neighbor's sheep, that then got turned into wool and then turned into felt and blah 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 blah. I used it for this project. So I would like hold down a little wisp of felt with this skewer and then poke with a needle into my soap thing, and then I made this lovely tree soap, and it was like pretty easy. I was kind of shocked that I've never gotten into felting before, so that was kind of a slay. And the other thing that I learned how to do this weekend was how to weave willow branches into little baskets, but I was making specifically bird feeders, not like a big basket project or anything like that. But I made a tiny little guy that honestly looks like it could serve as like a baby witch's hat, and Corvidia has been enjoying wearing it and balancing it on her head. And I don't know where I'm gonna put this one yet, but I also made a bigger willow basket bird feeder that is currently next to the bird bath in our little herb garden. And I just filled it with suet pellets yesterday, and I'm waiting for the birds to come and befriend me. The dogs are hunting, sorry. It's them versus the chipmunks and squirrels in our yard all the time. I'm like, why aren't the birds coming here and feeding? Maybe because my dogs are so loud to the animals in the yard sometimes. Rue literally just scared off an entire pack of birds that went up into the trees over there. Oh, I can't with them. But anyway, I'm very proud of my willow basket bird feeders, and I am just getting very into like my crafty era right now. And you know, I'm obsessed with cooking, so I'm always doing cooking. I'm always trying to share recipes with you and have that be part of the vlogs. Okay, let's make some pumpkin chili now. Well, butternut squash chili, but you get the picture. You can use any squash you want. I am adding 2 tablespoons of melted butter onto this bad boy, and then flipping them face down, and going to add in a 1/4 cup of water to help that cook while they're in the oven at 400 for about 45 minutes. And while I'm doing that, I am sauteing a large yellow onion, a large bell pepper, 3 garlic cloves, a tablespoon of chili powder, a teaspoon of ground cumin, a teaspoon of ground cinnamon, 2 teaspoons of cocoa powder, and mixing all that bad boy up. And then I put in 2 tablespoons of tomato paste. I also added in some salt and pepper, you know the drill, a 28-ounce can of crushed tomatoes and their juices. And then I added in a can of cooked kidney beans. And then I also put in half of the butternut squash that I had roasted. You can put this through an immersion blender if you want to, but I didn't do that this time, and it was still just as good. And then I put in a pound of cooked ground beef that I had made previously. And then I just put it in my Wonder bag to keep warm, because I was bringing this to a potluck later. This was all of the food that we were making to bring to the potluck for our camp out. So it was like a potluck the first night, and then the next night we made a collaborative meal together, which was stone soup. Some of you may know the folktale about stone soup, but anyway, Finley was bringing ribs to the potluck, and I actually secretly filmed him because I had already had my tripod set up on the counter, and he was doing this in the perfect angle of getting the shot. So I was like, okay, you guys are forever watching Finley make stuff in the house, you know, but you're not watching him cook. So this is his mind right here. He is adding onto these are pork ribs, so I didn't eat them, but they were very good. They were a total hit. Well, that's kind of a spoiler alert, but he's adding ketchup, hot sauce, Worcestershire sauce, and then I think, did he already add the barbecue sauce? I don't know. He was doing like the sauce adding with his hands being deranged and unwell. Then he was adding on his powders. Paprika is going on to these bad boys here. Okay. And then he was adding on some ground mustard. He was very cautious about the ground mustard to me. He asked many times, he said, is ground mustard okay to put on here? And I said, you know, you need mustard to make mayonnaise. So yes, I think it can be added even ground to the condiment party that is marinating your ribs. And then he added on a shit ton of salt. And I thought this was too much salt. Okay. But apparently it was not too much. So go off, King. And this was the secret ingredient, okay? A bunch of light brown sugar. Just adding all that bad boy on there, yes. And then flipping them, and he did the exact same thing on the other side.
They look really pretty bad and weird, so we'll see what happens. I'm gonna put some of this on them, and then I'm gonna cover them with foil. Hopefully that makes them more attractive, at least, even if not delicious. This was after an hour and a half of cooking at 300, by the way.
Then he put them in for another hour and a half at 300 and took them out.
Wow, they still look really weird though. I wouldn't say they look great. Hopefully they'll taste good. I feel like I should try one. I'm gonna just glaze them again just a little bit so that at least they look better. And then, you know, people can get what they get when they actually taste it.
You get what you get and you don't throw a fit.
I put a lot of ketchup on these, so that's what's making them look so gross, I think. Okay, well they look a little less bad now. They're honestly pretty good. I guess you really don't have to know what you're doing to make these good. I put a lot of sugar on them. Not bad at all. As you can see, it was a total slayana. I actually had the best food there, which it was a very low bar, granted. Still, great success for me. Really stepping outside of my comfort zone, my box. Normally, I might do something like bring a bunch of quesadillas or egg sandwiches, or more likely bring nothing at all. So this was nice for me. There was very little meat there, basically none. So I know everybody was very happy about that. These were gone very fast. And everybody seemed to like it good enough, which is what I was shooting for.
I really do miss crafting, and when I went through all of the boxes that we cleared out of the wing, I found so much craft supplies that I want to make like an entire craft corner and a space for myself that's nicely organized, and for my future kids, you know? Like, we have so much art projects that could be made from the stuff that we have, and I'm just feeling so happy and loved and light, and I'm just so glad that we have the community that we do already here in Vermont, and it's been like, what, 2 years? So it just feels as though we're only gonna put down roots more and more and have more of these crafty gatherings and moments with new friends and old friends, and just, I just love it, okay? So I needed to share it with you because there was just so much at this weekend in the woods, and all of the feral forest children were just making my life. Like, they just had leaves all in their hair and were just running around barefoot, and Corvidia loves big kids, so she had truly the time of her life. And there was different stuff that Finley did too, like he cut and sewed and tanned, or like, I guess smoke tanned, a sheath for one of his knives that was unsheathed, and he also built a cob oven for our buddy's property. Speaking of Finley's fun craft projects, I actually have a very exciting one to show you guys as well that happened here in the house, and I forgot to intro it, so I'm introing it now. Behold, the chicken box project.
When I was fixing this wall area, some of these floorboards had some rot. So I needed to find some that I could use to replace it. There was no extra in the house. So I came over here and just cut a piece out from here because this area is just not that important. And I didn't have any plans of how I was going to deal with it. Then my beautiful, talented wife, she was reorganizing things and put this here. And so every time I walk up and down the stairs now, I think it's funny to see the chickens. And it looks like if you're walking up and down, kind of looks like we have a little corral of chickens here. So yesterday, I cut a piece of wood to go in here. I'm gonna center the chickens kind of in this whole stairwell, and then I'm gonna build a box around it. And then I think I'm just gonna put like little dividers in the box with an open top so that you could stick like pairs of shoes in there or something like that. Try to make it useful to some degree. I do know at some point, I don't know when, hopefully a long time from now, this is just a glass window and it's gonna break. Somebody's gonna hit it with something. Most likely me. That'll be really sad when it happens. But until then, I want to have a little corral of chickens here. And I'll put a little piece of trim board here to make it look a little nicer blending in. I'm filming a before shot, okay? Big moment for chicken lovers like me, perhaps my dog Larry, perhaps my child Corvidia. Chicken lovers around the world are very excited right now. The installation is about to happen. I won't screw it in, I'll just bring it up here, set it where it's gonna go, and just really feel amazing about it. Dun, 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 dun. Chicken-con-con, chicken-con. My God, that's gonna be sick. So this is just a little lesson in making life out of lemons, you know? I had to rip up my board, my floorboard, and now I have something so much better. I never, ever, ever would have thought of this if my wonderful, intelligent, beautiful wife had not put our chicken glass there. And once I saw it, I just knew I found its home. And this is actually gonna be useful. I got pocket here, 2 big pockets, pocket there, pocket there. My God, it looks good. This is a little palate cleanser for me after so much fucking drywall and other dumb stuff that's just boring and bland as hell. Get to make something with a little vivacity. Good morning, birds. Oh, I just got home. Oh, hey ladies, here's some food. Okay, gonna go do some chores. Life's amazing with my girls. Love you, ladies.
And there was other workshops that we didn't attend that was like knife sharpening skills and learning how to tie certain knots in ropes. And for the children, they built a whole kid village, and there was somebody who led a pottery class, and we made paint. Oh, that's another thing that I did. We made watercolor paints out of different rocks and different like shales. Is that what they're called? I should know after my workshop, but we like ground down like lapis lazuli and other crystals and stuff to make like bright blue pigments, and then painted certain things. It was just so pure, and it was like a completely unplugged weekend. We put all of our phones away or into this box that was called the JOMO box, which was the joy of missing out, not the FOMO box, the JOMO box, okay? And we just joyfully missed out of the plugged-in world all weekend and returned to the ground and the earth, okay, in classic Vermont fashion. Anyway, I'm getting very chilly. My feet and my hands are getting really cold, and my dogs are going crazy, so I'm gonna wrap it up here. But I just wanted to share this current glimpse into our life, and I just love you, and I hope you're having a nurturing and lovely fall. Rue, let's put a sock in it. Okay, I'll see you guys in my next one, and when I'm not on here, you can find me on Patreon. Stay smiling. Bye, y'all.